Welcome, everybody, and welcome back to Chris.
Yep. Good to be here.
3 times. This is your 3rd time.
Yeah.
Pretty elite company.
I guess.
And first time, Rebekah Mancino. Welcome. We are super happy to have you. I told Chris that you're kind of be like a host with me for this one.
Yep.
Because essentially what I wanted to get to the depth of is, Rebekah, your perspective on the journey that you guys have been on, all the way through. Anybody who doesn't know, Chris was on with us for episode 20 and 21, I think it was, or 19 and 20, somewhere in there. And we just really highlighted like your life and struggles that you went through, triumphs that you've come, across and worked toward. And while we were having that conversation, I kind of had the thought of like, I wonder what the wife's like through the wife's eyes, especially with like the cancer diagnoses and stuff like that. Like pretty much, I won't ruin it. But so I thought that was really good. And we were joking about how easy it is to talk on podcasts, contrary to popular belief, for all my future guests out there who are coming on.
Yeah. I tend to be quieter. So like I was intimidated by coming on, honestly. And once you get rolling, it's just having a conversation. So, and giving glory to God. I mean, that's what it's all about, encouraging people, like you're saying. So the focus is off, and that kind of helps,
and it's not a performance. Because you could think like cameras and like microphones, it feels like a performance, but no, it's actually just a conversation, and this is the medium
platform.
To send that out to people who don't hear it.
Amen.
It's been a theme recently where I've been telling guests on the show like how hungry people are for these messages, and how like when you live up here and it's kind of isolated bubble in this county because it's a little bit unique up here.
Sure.
And how just once you venture out, you see like, nobody was taught this like I was taught this, or nobody saw this lived out like I saw it lived out.
Yes, it's very unique.
Yeah.
And
you would have a great experience on that too.
Yes, it's very unique. We love this community, and it's the hope that endures through Christ is exemplified very uniquely in this community. It's a special, special place. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, for anybody who doesn't know Chris, like those episodes are really good, and we had such a good time. And so you would get to know him well by checking that out. But we have his lovely wife in here, Rebekah. Yes. Could you just tell us a little bit about you, your upbringing, stuff like that?
Yeah. Wife of Chris, if you want to watch or listen to those episodes. I'm the daughter of Wilbur Zare, so you can just listen to that to hear about my upbringing. Sister of Christian, so we're just getting the whole gang in here.
We're going to call this the Wilbur Zare Family Podcast pretty soon.
But that was my upbringing, if you didn't hear Wilbur's episode. I was born in Hong Kong. My family were missionaries there for quite a few years, and then lived in the Bronx for a time. That's where my mom and dad originally met, where they kind of started where they got married and where they started their family. And then my dad joined the State Department, so I grew up just moving every 1 to 2 years. It feels so funny saying this to you because I lived with Brock's sister Brielle for every summer of my life, basically.
Yep. At your house.
So at their house.
Your honorary sister.
Yeah, Will and Dawn are second mom and second dad. But I lived overseas, moved every couple years, would come back to this area pretty much every summer, or when we had home leave and stuff. And so this area always felt like home to me. It was the most consistent place in my life. Because it was different country, different language, different church, different everything, every couple of years. So was always very thankful for Louville, but just never really expected to live here. When I graduated high school, I went and did a missions training school, basically in the Netherlands for 6 months, came back I lived with my parents in DC for a time, moved with them to Tel Aviv, and then from Tel Aviv, went back to work in the Netherlands for a few years. Then I moved to LA and was there for a couple years, all kind of around COVID time. And my work, living, everything situation. I was just kind of at the end of, I just remember.
You could dig into the whole, red light district in the Netherlands. Like, you dig into that a little bit.
Yeah.
That experience is pretty cool.
Yeah. So I worked as a missionary in the Netherlands with it's called Discipleship Training School, but it's, kind of Bible school missions, inspiring young people. So that was my primary focus, but I did do a lot of like street evangelism, worked with a couple other ministries there in the city. And for a time, I lived, and we had a prayer house in the red light district. From the room, you can see windows is what they call, where the women stand. And you can like see it right across the street. And so it's just a kind of unique ministry to have worship and prayer and kind of doing spiritual warfare, like in such a dark place. But you walk through the doors into this room and it's just like you feel the peace and joy and hope and all of that. So to have that example of the power of worship and prayer has been big for my life. And
right in the thick of it.
That's
kind of
like the darkest of dark that you see all kind of around you.
The depths of despair for people where they're reaching out for something that's not going to gratify you at all.
Yeah.
Hey, you know about Jesus?
That was part of that was part of the evangelism team that I was a part of, was specifically going to talk to Taurus and the men in the red light district. 20-year-old Rebekah, like,
right.
That's exactly what it did, is like, it's the last thing anyone expected. Walking up there. So there was kind of
a common question you'd say was like, bring up their mother, right? Like,
I wouldn't bring it up. Like I would often engage in conversation, and they would, like, it. There wasn't a single night that I went out, and I wouldn't go by myself, but like with a couple people that I went out, that not at least one person said, like, oh, this, it's crazy that you're like asking me this stuff, or like asked to pray with me. It was always a mother, a grandmother, or an aunt. They would always mention one of those three, like, oh, they say that they pray for me. And during that time in the Netherlands, that was always brought me so much hope, because it was during one of the periods that was really difficult with my brother Christian. Go listen to his podcast. That's right. Of all I could do was pray. That was kind of it. Because there would be periods where he didn't have a phone, or where we couldn't contact him, and no way of kind of getting a hold of him. So every time I went out there, that was kind of my prayer, of like doing this in obedience, praying that there would be people in his life, either talking to him, or that he would be protected until, like, that his life would be protected until he gets to the point where he can hear the truth. And that's what God did. So it always stuck with me, like the power of a mother's prayer. And these guys I would talk to, they might never hear that, like, oh, I was in the red light district for not great reasons, and like these three people came up and prayed with me, and so that was always a lot of fun. And so with that school, we would also lead like short-term mission trips. It would be like 3 months at different places just around the world, to kind of give students a cross-cultural missions experience.
Right. Very valuable.
Yeah. So that was a lot of fun, and I loved it. And I remember saying it when I lived in the Netherlands, and I was working with, it's called Youth with a Mission, was the missions organization I was with. And I had never, there had been places that I'd lived that I loved and that I would love to go back to and visit, but there had never been a place that I felt more like that I fit. And so kind of, honestly, almost like at the height of my, fitting, I felt like the Lord asked me to leave and move. And it made sense because that was the longest I had lived. So this was when I was 19 till I was 22, I think, somewhere around there. And so that was the longest I'd lived anywhere since I was 4 years old. So it made sense that I had this internal clock of like, okay, time to move and time to go. But again, I kind of had like everything going for me. Like it was just, I loved where I lived. I loved my community. I loved the work I was doing. It definitely wasn't this like, I just got to get out of here. Like I just, it just fit so well. But I felt challenged that like, even though, the work I was doing was hard, there were challenges, but because I fit so well, I felt like the Lord was saying like, then there's nowhere else for you to grow. Like you're just kind of like, if you want to stay at this point, then just stay here. But like, if you want to grow, then you have to move to somewhere that you don't fit in.
Right.
And so, so I ended up moving to LA and, just through a series. There wasn't this like big voice from heaven that was like, go to LA, but there was just some random things and opportunities and doors that opened. And I was like, okay, like I didn't have anywhere else necessarily to go in my mind. So I was like, I'll try this.
And what year was that?
That was in
like right before the pandemic?
2020.
Yeah.
Okay.
I moved there December of 2020.
Okay.
Yeah. And then in March.
That's a great time to move to a big city during the
pandemic. Yeah. Crazy time.
Yeah.
Because you don't really get the full experience, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Like, things are closed and shut down. And
what is crazy is I moved there with very little money, had some savings, I was subletting from someone for a month, and then moved into another house with this program that I don't even know if it's still a thing, but there was like 4 different campuses almost. And so I lived in a house where there was a guy side and a girl side, and it was like 30 people in one house. And I was in a dorm with like me and maybe 5 other girls, like bunk beds, tiny, tiny room. So in some ways it was kind of nice having the security of like just immediately being surrounded by people, but it was not everyone there was, great.
Right.
Influence, and there is lots of drama. And I mean, you get 30 men and women living in a house
in LA.
that are all artists.
Yeah.
Like, it was
more
a lot.
free spirited. For sure.
I'm gonna make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
so much like dream chasing out there. Like that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Start getting close to
crazy
Hollywood
personalities. In the house of 12 people, along with a missionary from Amsterdam. It's just a crazy mix.
It was.
You must have stuck out like a sore thumb.
Yeah. I had
what a good place to be, though.
Yeah, I had some fun. One of the things that I remember is I had one of the girls that was in my room, she became my best friend in LA, and she was a believer. And immediately we just clicked because that's a good, what's the word? Like just to connect on is like, oh, you want to live a life for Jesus? I want to live a life for Jesus. That's great. So that was hugely instrumental for my time there. I would just have conversations with people, and probably the best thing I've ever heard someone say is they just went, I've never heard someone talk about God the way that you talk about God. And I was like, okay. I didn't get a huge confession of faith, or they didn't pray a sinner's prayer, but if I could get someone to think twice about God, or to think more rightly about God than they did before, I'm like, okay, that's. But it was hugely challenging. I actually got a job like 2 weeks before like everything shut down, which was amazing. Otherwise, I would have just been completely out of money. So I did have a job. I actually worked at a Starbucks. I worked at a drive-through Starbucks. So it stayed open because it was the drive-through stayed open.
Sure, yep.
So I still had a job, which was
Essential
good.
people's coffee.
Yeah.
Coffee addiction.
Need the
Yeah.
bean juice.
We were
Yep.
we were actually right across the street from a hospital also. So we got a lot of nurses that were
I
like,
bet.
my Starbucks shut down like next to my house. And so
I bet.
yeah.
Yep.
So we had a lot of people. But yeah, lots of crazy stories. I pretty quickly after I started, they asked me to be a supervisor, so I started doing that, and then I had to deal with all the crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I would call 911 like once a week just because of crazy people.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And you never know, like, okay, these threats that they just said, like, are they actually out there waiting for me? Or are they not? Sometimes,
Right.
like, we'd have people like hit workers and
Yep.
throw stuff at them and stuff. And so
People coming in
sometimes-
naked.
yeah, one guy came in, just took all his clothes off and started running around.
Wild.
Like,
Sounds like a great place to live.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
move.
Yeah.
yeah, let's move there. Yeah, it was.
Oh man.
It was crazy. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like that whole time period feels like a blur.
Yes.
Doesn't it? Like the whole pandemic just feels
Yeah.
like we didn't even live through
What
that.
even
Or it was a
happened?
simulation or something and we were just like, it's just a fog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like when
Yeah.
you go and look at, people are doing now like compilation videos of like empty streets and like
Yeah.
some of the news coverage and you're like,
That
Yeah,
happens.
that
yeah,
happened.
yeah.
Seems
And
like
like
a
the
movie.
store
Crazy.
shelves, you walk in and you're like, what?
Yeah. Everybody's like fighting over toilet paper and
Yeah.
paper towels.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy times.
Yeah.
The lately there's been a theme on the podcast, and it kind of
Mm-hmm.
highlighted from a long time ago. We had Kerry Herbine on. Do you know who he is? He used to be the COO at the hospital, so Chief Operating
okay.
Officer.
Yep.
Yep.
Talked a lot about leadership,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the axioms he lives by, and I need to find out whose quote this actually was, but that's kind of how he approaches leadership, and it was, don't control results, influence thinking.
Yeah.
And like as a business owner myself,
I
I'm
could have
like,
done that a lot more as a supervisor.
exact. Well, but I'm thinking more like even in your faith journey when you were talking before, because a couple episodes ago we applied it to parenting as well. Like when
Yeah.
you're parenting, controlling
Yeah.
results not a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, all the time.
Yeah.
But if you can influence them how to, give influence on how for them to think and how them to grow and make their own decisions and,
Yeah.
and no consequences. That also applies. And now I'm thinking like it kind of applies to faith too. You can't just cram it down everybody's throat.
Yeah.
Like you were
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
Making someone
I've never
esteem
make them
God
think.
higher.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or I never thought about it that way. Like, okay, I'm not necessarily, it's just influencing for them how to
Yeah.
think and how to,
Yeah.
to go about it. And then let God
Yeah.
do God's thing.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times that's super effective.
Yeah, Jesus could have grabbed the reins and controlled the results, right, if he wanted to.
Right.
But he chose to try to influence thinking and give us
Yeah.
that choice, right? I mean, that's,
And how much as believers are like, that's not us, like it's Jesus through us, right? Obviously.
Yeah.
So how many times do believers try to control
Yeah.
the result?
Yeah.
Instead of influencing their heart and letting the rest be.
Yep.
Okay, let's rewind just for a second. I had a couple questions like growing up, because this is not my experience. Growing up country to country to country.
Yeah.
How difficult was that?
Yeah. I would say up until I was around 14, it was, which everything's the worst when you're 13, 14 anyway. So I'm like, was it actually my experience or was it just your
Everything's a
going
catastrophe.
through puberty and it's the worst? Yeah. I'm so thankful I'm never going to have to be 12 again.
Yeah. There's definitely parts in my life where like, oh, good, I don't have to do that again. But now I have I have my own girls.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're gonna have to go through
Yeah,
that.
you're going to have to watch them go through it. Yeah.
I remember being like in my early 20s and being like, trying to figure out dating and a wife and like all that and like navigating all that stuff. I'm like, I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
again.
Never again.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah. So I mean, because I would imagine
Yeah.
like when you're a child, stability, security, all of these are by the book very important things that they would say are integral for your development as a child, and to be moving around so much and not having like a consistent base of friends that you see regularly, or not knowing where you're going next.
Yeah.
What did your parents do to kind of insulate you from that?
Yeah. I think something about my experience that is different than what people might assume is that because of the job, I always knew that we were moving. So something that I couldn't imagine would be like you move somewhere and then kind of out of the blue, like 6 months later or whatever, like, oh, we're moving again. Where for us, like we always, except for Hong Kong, which I don't really remember. And then when we lived in the Bronx, after that, we always knew like this is a 2-year post. And so I really admire and now try to live out my parents' perspective of like, we're here for a short amount of time. Like, especially when it came to church, like very first week, very first church we went to, it was like, come in, talk to everyone that you can, see how to get plugged in. Cause we don't have time to do like, oh, we'll just sit in the back and like
wait for
come for
to call
6
us.
months. Yeah. Wait for someone to reach out to us. Like it was very, and that's my dad's personality anyways.
It definitely helps.
So that helps a lot. I always tell people I am honestly an introvert, but I'm an introvert that was raised by the most extroverted person I've ever met. So you kind of have, and you have to be. Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely faith was always my parents exemplified, faith was not, we go to church. Faith was and is everything. Like everything goes around. What is God calling us to do? How do we be disciples of Jesus? So that was definitely very instrumental being raised in that type of, I don't know what my dad talked about with Hong Kong, but like the work that he was doing in Hong Kong, like you don't take your family of 3 young kids there or 2 and then have a third one. Like that's just not normal in average American culture.
Yeah. With security, stability, all those things in mind.
Yes.
That's not it.
It's not take risks and move to China.
Right.
Yeah, but it's God's calling us and he'll give those things in different ways. And even coming back here, right? I mean, knowing this family, right?
Yeah. That was the consistency in my life was and even today it still blows my mind. Like Brielle, Brock's sister, like her and other friends here. The Puddingtons, like just different people that have known me. The fact that I had such a moving all the time life, and yet there are people that I can be like, we've been friends for over 20 years. Like that's just the grace of God, I think. So I think always coming back here to visit was something that my parents did intentionally, like have some sort of connection to a form of home. But definitely their faith and their presence was the stability in my life, which again, up until 14 was, I always believed in Jesus. I always kind of, like, I never really had a rebellious stage in that sense. But it was
the security your parents gave you because of the way their marriage, they approached marriage.
Yes. Oh, that's good. See,
this is why you're here. This is why you're making the big bucks as my co-host. Don't worry. When the next cameras go out, I'm going to let you do the clicky thing.
Nice. No, that's actually really good. Yeah. It's something that my dad and mom have always said, but not just said and actually exemplified, is we have always known, it sounds funny, but it's good. We have always known that my dad loves my mom and my mom loves my dad more than they love us. And so there was a stability that wherever we moved, we always saw I say me, like I always saw their connection. And so there was always safety within the home that like whatever was changing outside, like, I don't understand this language, whatever.
Whatever. I don't know how to ask for bread at the grocery store, but that's okay.
Another thing that was always exemplified was my mom's dream was to like live in a small town and never move. Like that was kind of her ideal thing. But watching her follow my dad, I legitimately don't have any memory ever of her ever saying like, oh, like he's making us do this, or like, why did he choose this? Like it was always when I would come to her with like, I hate this, why are we moving again? It was always very much like, this is what we, your dad and I are called to, and we as a family, like, this is what we're called to do. And so it was never this like, oh, I know your father is whatever. Right, they always were a team, which definitely provided, I think it provided more stability than I realized, which is maybe why I don't think of it first, because it was so normal to me that like, they are the unit almost not against us, but like they were the that's unique. Like in the culture, it's your kids, your kids first, right? Like we're gonna sacrifice our marriage for the kids, and that's foreign to me,
Right, and he mentioned that on the podcast when he was on about he was like, "Yeah, we love you a lot, but Daddy loves Mommy more."
I remember him saying that, and it's the weirdest thing. How I genuinely remember being like, "Oh, okay." Like,
it felt good.
It felt good.
It felt good.
You would
and
think
I watched him love her well.
That would feel good
as a kid.
Like, what do you mean? I'm your everything.
Yeah. I don't know what, there's probably some psychology thing about it, but so that definitely was a lot of stability.
Right.
And so they were very, which I think is even tied to the whole, like, if Jesus is at the center of your marriage and of your life, then naturally, then things will be in the right order, the priorities.
The blessings cascade.
Right.
Jesus and the church, like all that. Right, those parallels, like of the husband and the bride, right?
And
that's the most important. Like,
right, and like that's so backwards from how everybody looks at marriage and family nowadays in modern culture. What an amazing example for your mom to sacrifice that desire of being like small town American family, quiet. Because I know that like I've heard that before too from her. Like that's the dream, you know. But to never complain and
I didn't even know that would have been a desire of hers until being an adult and like talking about it. Like she just never. It like I think my dad is the best and he's amazing and he is, but like. Cheeky though is like amazing.
She is.
Next time we should have both of them.
That's the plan. The plan was to have a whole like all like 3 or 4.
Oh wow, that'd be cool.
I need to get some more microphones. What a great, what an inspiration. You know, like and what a perfect example. And this is the other part of like most people don't see that from their parents, and then they grow up not knowing what a healthy marriage actually looks like. Because the truth is, like when it comes down to it. It's like faithfulness and sacrifice and dying to yourself and all of these concepts that are just so opposite of especially American Western culture. It's just like it's all about you. It's all about gratification. It's all about how you feel. It's all about what makes you happy. It's like, but in a roundabout way, it actually doesn't produce deep meaning and deep fulfillment. Those are the words we need to be talking more about.
Amen.
Because when you do that, then consequently it comes around in a more fulfilling way. And that's just the truth.
Talk about the redemption of not feeling at home, like that God's brought. That's a great.
So we were living in Istanbul at the time in Turkey, and
I feel like we should list out all the places that she's been. So far, we've got China and Tel Aviv and Istanbul. So it's a little different than going to like Krogan.
A little bit different.
I do laugh a little bit when I'll ask someone like, "Oh, are you from here?" Like, because there are a lot more military families in the area now.
Right.
And they're like. In Louville, they'll be like, "No, I'm not from here. I'm from New Bremen or something." And I'm like, "That is from here."
That's from here.
You say it so you're just like, "Oh, we were like in Istanbul," and then you know. Okay, so
we're in Istanbul. We moved there when I was 13 and left when I was 15. And again, maybe I was just 13, and it's difficult for any human. But I was really struggling with that move. Just hated everything, hated everyone, hated that this was my life of moving all the time. And it was around that time. And it was actually a difficult move for everyone in the family. But again, that stability of knowing my family is my parents leading the family, like are going to choose Jesus every time. I just started, through a lot of different things, just started kind of picking up my Bible, reading it a little bit more for myself, not just if my mom told me to or whatever. And instrumentally, alongside reading the Bible, was I started reading Mere Christianity, which is C.S. Lewis's, one of his probably most famous book. And it's just him writing about tenets of faith, like what is Christianity, basically. And there was a lot of instrumental thoughts that had never really taken root before. And I do remember like reading it and then talking to my mom, being like, "Mom, did you know blah blah blah?" And she was so great. She'd always be like, "That's amazing, Rebekah." And then like a year later, I'd be like, "You tried to tell me that for like 14 years of my life, didn't you?" She's like, "Yeah, I've been saying that for like a really long time." But she was always so excited with me, like when I was learning something. So yeah, the biggest foundational thing during that time for me was realizing I don't fit in, and I shouldn't actually feel at home here because this is not my home.
Right.
This is just this side of eternity. And just realizing like heaven is my home, which sounds very like, heaven's my home. But it just instilled something in me of realizing that longing to fully belong and fully be at home. Because even coming to visit here, when we would visit in the summers, it was always fun and I loved it and it felt like home. But there was always, I can talk to whoever I want and they are not going to understand my life back over there where I live. Like I will never fully have my heart in one place.
Yeah.
And kind of realizing, the goal is not to get rid of that feeling. The goal is to realize, okay, there is somewhere that I am meant to be. And there is somewhere that I am fully known and fully belong. Yeah. And the whole Ephesians 2, in Christ, we are seated in heavenly places. And so that started a whole journey of me being like, okay, what do I believe? What is Christianity? What is my faith? Who is Jesus? And just, it started with the realization of like, I can have a home, kind of led me into, just more inquisitiveness and asking questions and all of that. So
yeah. How valuable. Wow.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And I think it's something that everyone has to, I think everyone, no matter where you have lived, if you have never moved, if you've moved once, whatever, everyone has that feeling at times of like, sometimes it's just walking into a room and you're like, I don't fully belong here. Yeah. And that's such an innate human desire to belong, and not just belong a little bit, but like fully be welcomed. Mm-hmm. And so when I realized, that's what heaven is, that kind of started that journey for me.
There's a shred of truth, and in the correct approach of the thought, like it's a good thing. Yeah. Like we don't belong here, and we belong somewhere else. We're heading that direction. Yeah. And then all that leads to like open-handedly living, like not, so controlling with everything, and lots of other things branch out from that, right? Like just being willing to, be more free. And
there was this weird, like, because there was this realization of, okay, because in Christ I belong to him and like heaven is my home. Yeah. There was a sense of like, because I know that now, I can belong everywhere at the same time. Like, because it's this weird, like, because you don't belong or fully fit in anywhere, you do now belong and fit in everywhere if you're seated in heavenly places.
So the identity thing too, like this is who I am.
Yeah. Because so much of our identity, and not that it's even a bad thing, but is surrounded by what job do you have, who's your family, who do you, it's just
relationships.
Yeah. Location, relationships, all of those things.
Yeah. Like when you think of who are you, and so
we're his.
Yeah,
It's almost like and it kind of came into focus for you there, and then propelled your faith journey in a deeper way. Tyson, when Tyson was on, my brother, the first time, he had said something about how when you're too close to something, you don't really get a good view of it, and when you're too far away from something, you really don't get a good view of it.
Yeah,
that's
so finding the right lens of perspective is pretty important. And it can come from anywhere. It could come from a girl walking up to you in the red light district, right? Or it can come from reading a book, like C.S. Lewis's book. So I love that. That's just that's a testament to what really matters. You made a really good point earlier about just finding out who you really are and how now your whole life changes in your trajectory, kind of. This actually isn't home, which is very, it doesn't feel, it feels weird to say that. But then ultimately, once you find out where home really is, then everywhere's home. Very, very interesting. Yeah. So what was after that then? What was the journey after Turkey?
So that was in Istanbul. After that.
Also, like, I love how like that was the place you didn't like the most, or like
and then it turned into my favorite post. Like the last year there, I like loved it.
Interesting.
And,
Huh. Like you were kind of going through some trials, and some good stuff came from that. That'll preach.
A lot of good stuff came from it. I loved it there. So we were in Turkey. I am literally blanking on where we moved after that. Anyways, I think that after Istanbul, we were in DC for maybe 6 months to a year, something like that. And then we moved to Juarez. So actually not that far away. We lived in Ciudad Juarez, Mexico. That was when Christian, like as we were moving to Ciudad Juarez, he went to college in Abilene, Texas. I did my junior and my senior year in Juarez, which that again, kind of, for myself was like, this is the end of the world. At the time that we found out that we were moving there, it was the murder capital of the world, like number of murders per capita, even like Afghanistan and Iran, and like couldn't beat the city of Ciudad Juarez. So it's very dangerous is what I'm trying to say.
City of Juarez.
Yes. Yeah. In Mexico. Yeah.
So you ever seen the movie Sicario?
Yes. Oh, that's weird.
And I was like, oh yeah, I've seen that happen. Very
I watched that with my wife recently, and I was like, so you want to go? She's like, I'm all set.
No thanks.
Vacation. So moved there, and again the solidity of my parents' faith, like that was their whole thing. Whole life was like the safest. I wonder if he might have said this on the podcast, but he would remind me over and over, the safest place to be is where the Lord is putting you. In
the murder capital of the world.
Which when we actually moved there, it was getting better, but better was still not that great.
Right.
Your neighbors got.
That was El Salvador, actually.
Oh, that was El Salvador.
We visited, yes.
You guys visited El Salvador. Yeah. That was fun.
Which, we went to the time, I think at the time, that was the murder capital of the world. Like they had...
Maybe.
You guys are just jumping around to the murder capital of the world. Incredible that you could feel that peace in the midst of a very difficult situation or region. The cartels just tearing that area apart, and corruption and violence, and the fact that it was your faith and your family that was exemplifying your security is really powerful. So we did do a lot in El Paso, which is right across we were like 15 minutes maybe from the border, across the border into El Paso. So like even groceries and stuff, like we would go multiple times a week into El Paso. That's where where we ended up going to church and having a church family there. We did visit a church in Juarez because my parents were like, we want to go to Spanish-speaking church because my mom's Guatemalan, for those who don't know. So I speak Spanish. Yeah, I don't think people would know that.
Yeah.
And we've been there too.
Yeah. Yeah, Guatemala, and then
is that the house that she was raised in that we went to? Mm-hmm. That is a cool place with like the courtyard.
Yeah.
Have you been there?
We're about to go.
We're about to go in August.
Yeah, I'm
His
very
first time.
excited.
So he hasn't met my grandparents, and we have an uncle over there. Yeah,
Cool. And you got to do some hiking.
Yeah, volcano. And I'm excited.
Do you remember the volcano?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We would like throw a stick in the lava
Yeah.
and then it's like
Wow, that's cool.
crazy. Yeah, moving, active volcano.
Wow.
Yeah.
Exciting.
I think back on that trip and I'm kind of like, whoa, Mom and Dad, whoa. Like we would, like driving up the volcano and like trucks with guys with like AKs on the back, like holding them in the air, like.
We're not in Kansas anymore.
This is not Kansas, Toto.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy, but
that was such a fun trip.
So fun. And
I think we still have a picture of Calder climbing a coconut tree. I'm pretty sure
that was at the beach house, right?
At the beach house.
Cool.
Yeah.
And can you see Venezuela from the top? There's some place that you could see Venezuela?
I don't know.
From the top of one of those volcanoes.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we
were. Yes.
She's Guatemalan. Yes.
She's Guatemalan, speaks Spanish. So we were like, okay, Juarez, let's go to Spanish speaking church. So we did. I think we went once, and then the next week there was a church. I forget if I heard about it. My dad heard about it. We were like, oh, let's just go and visit. And that first Sunday, I met. Yeah, again, the grace of God. I met 2 other girls my age. One of them had just moved to the area as well, who was a junior in high school. One of them, her best friends had just moved away, so she was like kind of alone. So the 3, literally, first Sunday, the 3 of us were like, we're friends. And then, we did everything together that 2 years that we lived there. So we left the church that Sunday, and I was like, please, like, we have to go to this church. And then so my parents were like, okay.
Didn't it have air conditioning too? So your dad was sold.
That's true.
That was the selling factor.
Yeah, the Spanish speaking church did not have AC. And it was very hot in Juarez and Texas. So I lived there. Great church, great community, awesome youth group. There were definitely moments where you felt like living in Juarez. You know, you cross the border and you just like, ooh,
it's like totally different world.
Yeah, it was like going into a different world. And
you guys must have gotten good at getting across the border then.
Yeah.
If you're just going to get groceries, Billy or whatever your name is at the border crossing.
Yeah.
You know.
I actually joined, I think it was my senior year, I'm pretty sure. I was part of a dinner theater at the college in El Paso called UTEP. And so my dad, sometimes my mom would take me, but my dad would take me every single weeknight across the border, go to rehearsal. He would go to the gym or something while I was in rehearsal, drive me back. And then the performances, it was like 3 months of performances, maybe 2.
Whoa,
that he would drive me every single day to a different country.
Yeah.
So that I could
about
go
that commute. Through the border.
How you'd have to wait. There's no express lanes.
There is.
Oh, there is for like American citizens.
We had a, Mexicans could get it as well, like a global entry card.
Gotcha. For like work related stuff.
Yeah, because there are people who live in Mexico and go to work in the States and they have whatever.
Right. And it probably didn't give you too much hard time. Just flash some credentials, especially for your dad.
Yeah. So
That's
actually,
nice.
funny story. The only time I have ever been pulled over was in Mexico driving. I had just got my permit and was learning to drive. I was with my mom and I ran a red light and they pulled me over, and that's the only time I've ever been pulled over.
Elliot was on to talk about his motorcycle trip.
Yeah.
Crazy.
They got stopped in, I want to say Tijuana.
Okay.
And basically got shook down.
Yeah.
They were like, we got to take all your documents back to the station. You got to come back and get them tomorrow for a fee. And it's like, awesome.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they didn't do that. They just let you go.
Nope. Well, I showed them my diplomatic card, so I think he was.
That helps.
Yeah.
That definitely helps.
Yeah, that helps to have one of those.
I have a drone flying over me right now.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
So yeah, only time I've ever been pulled over.
Because some of those lines are crazy to get in, to get back into the U.S.
Yeah. We had someone come and visit us, and then we were going back into El Paso, and I think it was probably three hours maybe of waiting because they didn't have the Sentry card, so we all had to go in the regular people lane.
Yeah.
Far jump, but back to L.A.
Yep.
To the move here, right?
Yeah.
That's where.
Yes.
Yeah.
Before
let's fast forward.
Unless you want to go into some of this the other country
No,
stuff.
that was why. So from
You're good
Juarez,
at this,
I went
Chris.
to yeah.
You're hired.
Yeah. So from Juarez, I did the 6-month school in the Netherlands, came back. My parents were moving, so they were living in DC at the time. So I lived with them in DC for a year, went back to the Netherlands for 3 years, working there as a missionary. And yeah, lots of fun stuff there. If anyone is listening to this who's interested in missions, I would love to talk about it. But
And that was through YWAM?
yeah.
YWAM, yeah.
Through YWAM. Yeah, great time of my life. But yeah, like I had mentioned earlier, I kind of fit too well, and God was like, you need to get uncomfortable.
Pushed out of your comfort zone. Yeah.
So moved to LA, crazy stuff, worked at, drive-through Starbucks, was involved with different ministries, got involved with prison ministry at my church there, and homeless ministry. But then again, COVID shut everything down. So my intention was every time I move somewhere, get as connected with the church as you can, just plug right in. And so I had been there for like 3 months, so I was involved, but then services stopped, everything stopped. And yeah, I just didn't really have a large community at that point. So yeah, things were really hard. I ended up leaving Starbucks and got a job as a personal assistant for someone in West LA, and was just very difficult work. Any like LA stereotype you can think of, like I've seen it, I've lived it. Yeah.
Nice.
So I just got to the point, and you know what it was is in December, my dad started telling me like, Rebekah, why don't you just move to New York? At that point, my brother lived here. My sister and brother-in-law and all their kids, like they lived here. So he was like, just go there. He was like, I'm not saying forever, just go for like 3 months. And so when he first mentioned it, I was like, no, like that's not happening. And it wasn't that I always loved it here, but it was so far out of what I thought my life would look like that I just didn't see it happening. But they must have been praying real hard because so that was in like, actually it might have been like October. It was October. I remember the conversation. In March, I quit my job because I couldn't take it anymore. My car broke down. We had like 2 weeks. I was that friend that I mentioned who was a believer. We had moved out of the house and moved. We're subletting from another person in a better part of town. And we're living there for a while. And then we jumped apartments again. And we were like, you still good living together? We were like, yeah. So yeah. And again, that was super instrumental to have someone who wasn't just like, okay, I'll go to church with you every now and then, but like really was pursuing God. And yeah, it was just great. So yeah, all in the span of like a week, I quit my job. And then they really needed help. So I went back for another 2 weeks. And then I was like, no, I was right to quit my job, quit again. And then my car broke down. We had like 2 week notice to leave our apartment because they were like kicking us out. The space that we were subletting. I feel like there was something else. I don't know. I was just tired also. All the COVID stuff.
Right.
So in that same week that all this stuff happened, my dad got me a job with Tyson. Tyro Automotive, best place to work in Lewis County. So he got me a job. They were like, actually, Christian has a spare room. You can live with Christian. They had a spare car. They were like, here's a car. And it just all kind of worked out. And so basically in the span of like 10 days, and I remember the moment for the last year, I had been praying like, God, this is really hard. And I don't want to be here anymore. And I want to leave. And I just felt that the Lord continued saying like, no, stay, like stay. And then there was a moment where I was praying about it and just felt that he said like, it's okay. You can go now. And so it was about a month later that I came to Lowville and I had COVID and I quarantined at the Judd's house and just like slept and ate food for like 10 days. And then,
Nice little break from the chaos of LA. And what I would tell people was like, I just wanted to be around nice people again, just for a little bit. And I did think like, okay, I'll come for 3 months maybe. And then, and then see what's next. So when I first moved here, which was in April,
I was still really interested in getting back on the mission field. Like that was kind of my goal. And I've always had a heart for the Middle East. And so I kind of wanted to go there. So I had been sort of connected with this organization, and they had a trip coming up that they called it an expedition. So not a missions trip, but kind of a vision trip of like kind of see what we do, see the land. So I signed up for that in May. I had been here for about a month and a half, signed up to go to that in November. So that was then kind of my goal, was like, okay, I'll stay here until November to go on that trip, and kind of had I didn't know that it would, but was kind of like, and I might move here, just to northern Iraq. And was kind of thinking, like, just hearing more about the ministry and what they were doing there, I kind of wanted to get involved. And so had that goal. And then in August of that year, I met this guy. And
thank God for broken down vehicles.
Yeah.
And your parents' prayers to get you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So then I met Chris, and
shout out to Angelo.
Yeah, who introduced us. Yeah, my brother-in-law. Yes. Yeah, I don't know where to go. We met on
go
Sunday.
Right there.
We met on a Sunday, had dinner. He came over, had dinner with me and my whole family, like all my siblings.
Well, when I met you, it was at church, and and I came late, of course, so I made this, I might have talked about this last time, but I made a fool of myself, like, hi, like, sat behind them, and so I was late, and then she gets up, like, she starts walking up to do an announcement. I'm like, who is this girl? And then she starts talking about Iraq, like Afghanistan. I always say Iraq, Afghanistan, and praying for the displaced people groups over there, and the refugees. And I'm like, what the heck? Like,
right.
And she looks really cute in the dress too. So that I was
bonus.
My heart was beating, and so that was the first encounter.
So then, wait, that night, dinner that night, was that all pre-planned?
No, like Angelo in Angelo Fashion was like, hey, come over for dinner. So then we he came over and we all ate together. Yeah.
Thank God for people like that.
Yeah.
How many times do you hear that? Like it was just one family member who like basically tossed it together, and then like this amazing thing came out of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you don't know unless you know.
Yeah.
It's true too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow, that must have been a little bit intimidating to go to dinner right away.
Yeah, it was. But like their family is very okay with being friends with strangers, right? And so all of them were very welcoming, Christian included in his own way, right? But still has that friendly, like, I don't care if I don't know you, I'm gonna like treat you like
open up your home and make you food.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And so I felt very welcome by your family, and
and I was kind of looking. It was a really pretty awesome way to see Chris, because that's kind of how I always felt with dating stuff. I was like, I don't really care very much how you interact with me, because I'm assuming that you're going to be, that's what you do when you're first getting to know someone.
Best behavior.
Yeah, but how are you going to interact with other people? And and so we saw each other that Sunday, and saw each other pretty much every day after that until we got married. Like it just, I always would
I tagged along for the trip to northern Iraq that she signed up for, and we were dating at the time, and radical Islamic culture doesn't do dating. Like dating's not a thing in northern Iraq. And we were dating, so we approached that very seriously. Like we didn't want to disrupt the mission of the trip or any of the prayer, going on, or the interaction with the people they've really worked hard at to form a relationship with, right? The locals.
You weren't walking into church meetings holding hands. And,
right.
So we didn't
very
talk
strange
the whole trip.
Because
we didn't.
First dating. It was, I wouldn't do it again.
Are you mad at me?
Dude, it was not, I wouldn't recommend it.
We almost broke up, right?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, because like,
I
could imagine that there's just all kinds of room for misinterpretation and miscommunication.
And it was
the girls and guys were split up constantly.
And there were even some other guys on the trip that I would, you could say like, "Hi, how's it going?" Whatever. But like Chris and I really did not at all, because it just felt difficult to like, It was just strange.
It was. So thankfully we made it through past that. We actually stopped home at my brother's
we had a layover in Chicago where his brother lives. So we extended the layover
awkward,
to stay with him.
Introduction to my brother. Here's
this stranger,
my friend that we might break up.
Yeah, it was like, this is my girlfriend. We don't know if we're going to break up on the way home.
Strange introduction. We get to laugh about it.
Yeah,
for sure.
And we've had some nice redeeming trips to Chicago too.
Yep.
That's been fun. Yeah. But yeah, it was, for me, I loved the idea of Chris. So that was very instrumental for me to be like, oh, I just told this guy that I'm going to Iraq, and he was like, oh, can I come with you? Like, that was also not normal, I guess you could say. So yeah, that was very instrumental for me to be like, oh, he's actually on board with doing something like this together. Was awesome. So we went, but I think that I didn't prepare myself for like this trip. I've been thinking about it for 6 months now and planning like this might be the trip that determines where I move to or what I do in the future. And so that was weird for me to have all of these thoughts and emotions and ideas and not be communicating them to him. And then he's having a very, like, I was more familiar. I'd never been there before, but I was more familiar with Muslim culture because I lived in Turkey and just, some of that stuff. Right. And so that was a very cross-cultural experience for Chris. And so there was just a lot, like we were both going through our own, like, what's going on in different ways and not able to talk about it. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. It was.
That was like ugh.
Yeah.
But also I wouldn't necessarily not go. It just was straining for our relationship.
I think
it was a great trip, really awesome Amazing. Ministry going on. Like they were in it for the long haul and still are. Like, I think a lot of missions organizations are realizing like you can't just go for 2 weeks. Like you got to go and,
be there,
set up camp and struggle and, set up, be in relationship with these people.
They were instrumental in the city where they were during COVID because there was just such, it was pretty amazing.
It was.
So awesome trip. Got home. We're in Chicago. We're like, what is this? And so just, it's something, this is the thing that really kind of shook me up, I guess, was, we didn't break up, but we were kind of just wanting to be very open and honest with one another of like, I'm not really so sure anymore kind of thing. And that was in November, middle of November, first week of December. And we had good time. It's not like we were that whole time just like on the verge of breaking up, but we were still kind of like, okay, rose-colored glasses are off. Like, let's see if this is really gonna work, I guess. Yeah. Middle of November, first week of December, I'm at a Bible study with my sister, and you were there for this. Chris and my brother-in-law, Angelo, were at a basketball game, and Chris got hurt. He
that's right.
tore his patellar tendon.
Oh, I wish I got to play that season, man. That would have been so fun.
A good team.
That would have been so fun.
So Chris tore his patellar tendon. But from my perspective, I'm at this Bible study. Kimberly gets a phone call, says, hey, Angelo. And then she goes, okay. And she hangs up. And she looks at me and she goes, so Chris is headed to the emergency room. And I just remember that feeling of like, I stood up, my chair fell over. It was like a movie. I didn't mean for it to be dramatic like a movie, but I just was like, okay, I'm going. And sorry, your table.
What about falling chairs and tables?
But that feeling, because she was saying it in a very like, I need you to remain calm way. So I had no idea. And immediately, obviously, brain goes to worst case scenario. And then she goes, no, it's okay. Like he got injured, but like, he's fine. Like it's not, she said that like something happened to his leg or whatever. So I just immediately grabbed my stuff and like head to the emergency room. I got there like 20 minutes before you got there. Actually, I was just sitting there waiting. Faster than the ambulance.
Yeah. I love
it. So that was just like, even talking with like my sister about it afterwards and even other people that were there, I remember Kimberly saying like, that was kind of like I'd heard you talk about Chris and how much you like him and stuff, but she was like, but watching you kind of showed me the depth of your feelings for him a little bit. Right. And I was like, same. Like I had the same thing.
You were like, oh, what is this feeling?
Yes.
I care deeply for this person.
Yes.
Right.
Like the amount of like, whatever.
Like,
emotions.
Like, connection. Like that person's hurting, I'm hurting.
How much they care. Yeah.
Or I need to be there.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, so Chris had to have surgery on his patellar tendon, and then you're bedridden for like 6 weeks, I think it was.
Yeah.
And his dad came up from Long Island. His dad still lives in Long Island. Came up from Long Island to take care of him, which was, so helpful. But there was just so much in that from the moment that it was like, this person that I care about more than I thought I did is hurting, through his recovery and all of that. There was just so much that I saw in him that I was like, wow, okay, I saw the real him, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and realized there's a lot of good in there. So that was like a hugely solidifying time for me.
Worth the broken broken leg.
You know, it was
tendon.
very solidifying, especially after that rocky season, because I got to see a whole different side of you that I haven't seen, like the caring, nurturing woman that you've got to show even more of in this most recent season of life. But that really opened up, I think, both of our eyes to different aspects of our character. And I was enamored by that as well. Like, it's kind of cool to hear the other side of. I don't know if I've ever heard that completely.
I've definitely told you.
Yeah, you probably short-term memory loss benefits. You get to hear things.
Yeah, it makes
all
you feel
over
good
again.
all over again. So that kind of brought us to December, January time. Pretty quick. Like in December, I was like, when is he going to propose? Soon as
his knee is fixed so he can get down on it.
That's exactly what I was saying.
I always told him.
Exactly what I was saying.
Literally. And I was like, I don't need you to get down on one knee. Yeah. I don't even need a ring. Like I just, But I am thankful.
He's like,
that
but I'm getting down on one knee no matter what.
Yeah. For some reason, I cared about like actually getting a nice ring too, and like I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
So I couldn't like move around or drive myself places. So like, I wanted to wait. So that was also a good excuse that I had.
Yeah. And the ring's important to the wife a lot of times.
Yeah, but it wasn't for her. So
really,
I was. She was even putting that. Like
she's like,
give me an aluminum foil like ring. Like get this.
I was like, we can get a ring later. Like it's fine.
No, I want to.
But it was.
See, it's still important. Just later, like right now.
I don't
know right now, but
no, I think you're right. Like you appreciated that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
For
and
sure.
having it, I was like, I do appreciate it. But I was very much like. I just, seeing his character, I was like, that matters a lot more than, So that was like December, January time. And then in May, he did propose. And then we got married in August. So exactly a year after we met, we got married. And
proposed in May, got married in August, so that's quick engagement.
I think it was 3
3
months.
3 months.
Well, our parents were home, and we had to do
it
while they're home.
I mean, you have to get scheduling right because people aren't in the country for very long.
Yeah.
So it's either that or you wait like an entire year
basically.
or two.
Yeah, but
that's my pray for Chris alarm. Bless Chris Jesus.
Yeah,
amen.
But we were ready. Like it wasn't like too much.
Yeah,
it was stressful.
Yeah,
a little bit,
it was quick. And I always I was a girl that was like, oh, my wedding, and I want this and I want that.
Sure,
but
dream about it since you're a little girl. Yeah,
I'm like
boys, not so much.
Yeah, no.
You know that episode of The Office where Andy Bernard is like, I just want to have the wedding that every little boy dreamed of.
That's funny.
I think when we were really young, like me and my cousins, like Augie and Delight, like we would like plan our wedding. I think I wanted mine at Yankee Stadium.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Derek Jeter as the officiant.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no doubt about it.
No doubt.
Yeah, every little boy dreams of. That's so funny.
Yeah. So it was quick. I would always hear people say this, and I, by nature, am an incredibly indecisive person. Okay. So it genuinely, like, as I was getting
about certain things,
you're
indecisive about things that don't matter.
Yeah, that's true.
You're decisive.
Like, what kind of ice cream do I want? And then I'm like, I don't know, it's too much.
Yeah.
But then you're like, I'm going to Iraq.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
Lots of.
I don't know. I was just always afraid with picking a life partner, like that. I was afraid that I would have someone that I'd be like, oh, I really like them, but I still have this kind of like apprehension or whatever, like that I would just go back and forth. And with Chris, like, and yeah. Maybe not like this for everybody, but up until like the moment I was walking down the aisle was like, I know that I want to spend my life with this person. And yeah, there was, even though it was short, I had seen enough of him to know. Yeah. Another thing, I was actually talking about this with some friends this morning that was really instrumental to me, is that I was very aware of like, I haven't known him that long. I haven't known him that long. I see a changed man, but he has, a history of addiction. Like there's these things that I was like, everyone in this area has only known him for tops. At that point, tops would have been, 3 years maybe. But watching his humility and his kindness were the things that struck me first, especially his humility, because anytime I heard him talk about a decision to be made, a thing that he might be struggling with, it was always coupled with, I was talking to Pastor Todd. I was talking to Daryl. I was talking to this guy. There was these men around him that I saw him be submitted to and submit himself to. And it started at Huntersfield. But that just gave me the security of like, yeah, this isn't, if a man is willing to submit himself to other men a little bit further along than they are, like I will follow that man and I will feel safe with him. Cause he in Christ has never had that attitude of like, you can't tell me what to do. Like And so that's level of submission, just gave me a lot of security and being like, yeah, maybe we get married and something crazy happens, like, which it did sort of, but like, maybe you do something crazy, but I knew he would allow himself to be submitted to good, solid, disciples of Jesus. So yeah.
Yeah, and that stuff all matters because like the gravity of the situation when you're marrying somebody is big. It's a big deal, and like it's very easy to run things through your head and like, man, this is a huge decision. Like this is a huge life moment. Yeah, and like there's a few times in my life where I felt that. Obviously, when we got married, when we've had both of our daughters, it was just like these are not things that you can take lightly at all, and do your due diligence and be smart about decisions that you make and trust. We got married right in the middle of the pandemic, my wife and I. I don't know if you know this story, but anyway, so we were supposed to get married May 10th, 2020, 5/10/20, and obviously that didn't work out. Our wedding got canceled like 3-4 times, then eventually got refunded. So we did like backyard wedding. Yeah. And that was really great. And my dad married us. And there was like 6 to 8 people there, whatever it was. And Stephanie remembers feeling like, wow, like the gravity of the situation and feeling
more
like,
intense.
Intense. And then when she had pulled down the driveway and saw me standing at the end, she's like gone. Yeah. Like it was just, it all went away.
Yeah.
And it sounds similar. Like, like life comes at you and it can be difficult but we'll figure it out together. We'll do it together. Yeah. What happened next?
Yeah. So we got married August 13th of 2022. We got married at Huntersfield where Chris had You probably mentioned this in your podcast. Christian loves to make fun of us. He's like, you got married at your rehab center.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful, beautiful place.
If anybody doesn't know that place, it's like in the beautiful mountains.
Yeah, Catskill Mountains, like over
stunning views. Yeah.
Rolling hills. It's gorgeous.
Yep. Great wedding location.
Rehab / wedding facility.
Yeah. They've had, 3 or 4 now.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It's a cheap budget option. Look into it.
Yep.
Plug for Huntersfield.
Put up a tent.
Yep.
Yeah. So we got married there. We moved back to here, this area. And another thing that kind of brought us together is we both very much had a heart for missions in some capacity. Just like kind of service missional minded, I guess. And so there was an organization that Chris had been trying to go to for how many times?
2 or 3 times I tried to go to Nepal with an organization that fights human trafficking. And because of the pandemic didn't work out. So we were planning a trip.
That was so got married in August, had an amazing, first few months looking at what do we want to do. We had heard it told us and also decided first year of marriage, don't
go into war. Let's go settle in at home.
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Get to know each other, like you're living together for the first time, like all that kind of stuff. And so we had some things come up of like, oh, would you want to be involved with this or would you want to be involved with that? And we just felt like let's just do what we feel like God is calling us to do. And so around January-ish, his brother was getting married that year. In Germany. His wife is from Germany. And so we planned this whole trip to go, I think it was first to Nepal for that month-long internship with that organization. So the two of us would go a month to Nepal, go to Germany for the wedding, be there for like a week or something. And then we were going to go to Jerusalem for 3 months to be with my parents and kind of get connected with maybe some work that's happening there.
A year ahead of when we got married.
Yeah, right. You're right. That was January of 2023 at this point.
Yep.
Yeah. So we had this whole plan. Actually, we bought tickets for Nepal, bought the plane tickets. And 24 hours later, I had been sick just because you get sick in the North Country in April, March. So I had been sick. Chris got sick, coughing, sneezing, whatever. I started getting better and Chris wasn't. There was this lingering cough that he had, kind of like tightness in his chest.
Night sweats.
Yeah. Then the night sweats started. So, but we were like, oh, I got sick. I got better in a week and a half. It's been 2 weeks, whatever.
Breaking a fever.
Yeah, probably breaking a fever. So in the midst of this, we book our tickets for Nepal. And the next day, I was actually it was the weekend of Easter, April of 2023. I was doing at a prayer meeting and I was driving home. Actually, just I remember this. I was driving home and Chris was supposed to come with me. He was like, I'm really not feeling good. I'm not coming. And as I was driving home, just saw this big rainbow I was on the number 4 road, actually, driving back and just saw this big rainbow. And I was like, oh, that looks like it's kind of over our house. So just keep that in mind. I took a picture of it actually while I was driving. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. But now I have.
You're going to jail.
Yeah. Don't tell the sheriff.
What a rebel. You can tell people who are not rebels when they say stuff like that. I took a picture while I was driving. Years ago. Don't tell the sheriff.
There were no other cars around, I assure you. It wasn't even dark out. Yeah.
Didn't have her seatbelt on.
Yeah. I did have my seatbelt on.
She did.
I did.
Well, these things don't have, what is it, the dates? What is it when you're, you can't prosecute somebody after a certain amount of time?
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Statute of limitations.
Yes.
I don't know what the statute of limitations is on your taking your pictures while you're driving.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's passed.
Yeah.
So I see this rainbow. I go home. Chris is like, not feeling good. I take his temperature again. And this would have been like the third day in a row that his temperature was like over 101. It was like 103 or something. So I just said, we're going to the emergency room. And so he was like, and I was like, we're going. So we go to the emergency room.
Decisive when things matter.
Yeah, that's
right.
Go to the emergency room. They start running a bunch of tests. The doctor comes back in probably 4 hours later. It was like midnight at this point, and was like, we think he has pneumonia. And I was like, okay, not ideal, but sounds good. We were kind of thinking like, does he have Lyme's disease? Is it something like that? So then the doctor's like, yeah, we'll just finish some stuff up and then you'll be good to go. It comes back in like an hour later and is like, maybe not pneumonia. Kind of goes back out. I go back out. He shows me a CT scan of his chest, and he then explains like that there's these quite large masses on his lungs, which is what's causing the coughing and why he's having difficulty breathing. So he says, I want you to do a biopsy just to see if it could be cancerous or whatever. And so he says, you can wait and make an appointment and get it done somewhere closer by, or you can drive to Albany and go to their emergency room and have them take him in right away. And at that point, I'm like, okay, this is kind of freaky, but it's also like 1 a.m. and I'm just kind of like, okay, I don't know. Selfishly, I'm like, oh, Albany, like right now, okay. But yeah, it was just a very foggy time. But yeah, came back in. I'm pretty sure that we talked about it. I don't remember, or if I just made the decision again. I don't know.
I don't remember.
That I was just kind of like, we drove to Albany to get it done. And at that point I called Chris's dad, and I was texting with my parents, but called Chris's dad and was like, hey, they found these masses. We're driving to Albany right now to go get a biopsy done and like get admitted to their emergency room. So we just drove down there, get admitted. Chris's dad met us at Albany because it's kind of in between Long Island and us. So we kind of got there at the same time. Chris gets admitted. They start doing the biopsy. I'm pretty sure it was there at Albany that they said, like, we believe that that he has cancer. We're not sure exactly what type yet, so we don't really have more information than that. So there was at first, like I said, this is Easter weekend. I saw a rainbow over our house, was like, oh, rainbow, like, that's so nice. And it felt a little bit like this cruel irony because that morning, this all happened overnight. And so that morning, just scrolling mindlessly through Facebook, and everything that I'm seeing has to do with Easter and like Christ is risen and like celebration and people posting their cute photos. And all I have in my mind is like, Chris has cancer, like just this blur. And I do have a strange, like I can be emotional, but I do have this strange like place that I can go to. Maybe it's from the ministry that I don't know, but where I can just kind of be like objective and like, this is what's going on and this happened. And so I was talking with quite a few people, my parents, other people that my parents had told, being like, hey, how is he? Talking on the phone, like, yeah, this is what's happened. This is where we're at. This is what's going on. And I just remember just a little plug for the importance of Christian community. Pastor Matt. So yeah, I started going to Abundant Life when I first moved here because that's where my siblings went. So I just got plugged in there. And it was the craziest thing. Like I'd been talking to my parents, I'd been talking to friends, and Pastor Matt called me like first thing in the morning. And all he said was, he goes, hey, how's it going? And I immediately burst into tears. And there was just something about my experience with him has been very much a shepherd who really cares about his flock. And so it was just this crazy, like having someone that it wasn't a friend, but having someone almost with like a spiritual authority, ask me how it's going. I felt the safety to like actually be like, this is going on, and just like be quiet. And after that, I literally don't remember what he said. He probably prayed for me and then hung up or whatever. But the other thing that was instrumental that morning was Patrice Puddington, shout out to Patrice, texted me. a prayer, something. And then she sent me a video of the song that they were singing at their Easter service. And because like I said, I'd been kind of having this like, are you kidding me right now? Like, like everyone's like, Christ is risen. And I'm felt like sitting with death.
Everybody's hopeful except for you.
Yeah. And, but the song that she sent me that they were singing at church was Because He Lives. And it says, because He lives, I can face tomorrow. Because He lives, all fear is gone. Because I know He holds the future and life is worth the living because He lives. And I'm going to be really honest. I've had people ask me, and this isn't even getting to a week later, but I've had people ask me, like, when you heard, so they did the biopsy, didn't know exactly what it was. 5 days later, we found out it's called acute lymphoblastic leukemia. And pretty quickly, they were like, and we don't know his chances of survival, basically. So I've had people ask me, like, when you found out, did you just have this, like, this faith of knowing that he would be okay? Or when you were praying, did you, just have this? Because you hear stories where people are like, I know this is going to happen. And I was like, absolutely not. I really, in Albany, pretty early on, Chris and I both, I don't even know that it was hopelessness, but we both were kind of like, this really could be it. And I just remember hearing the song and realizing that's, in a way, like, that's why this happened on Easter, because he lives, because Jesus lives, I can face tomorrow. And that's all I held on to for quite a while. And it was instrumental for me to have, for me, I would, love to hear what you have to say about this, but there were some things that people said or prayed that were not very helpful, and things that people said and prayed that were very helpful. Mm-hmm. And I don't think there's a formula to it, but the things that I was able to actually hold on to were the things that would remain true, whether or not Chris came through this.
Right.
And I think that out of wanting to be hopeful and, encourage someone, it's really easy to say stuff like, don't worry, he's going to be okay. He's going to come through this. Like, he's strong. He's going to come through. And I'm like, but I can't hold on to that, because if he doesn't, then what is there? So that thing of, like, because Jesus is alive, I can face tomorrow. And facing tomorrow might not look like facing tomorrow. Like, it might look like a lot of different things. Right. But because he lives, all fear is gone, because I know that he holds the future. And honestly, I think that it ties back to, I remember sometimes telling you, like, it's going to be okay. And remember when I talked about, at 14, 15, being like, this is not our home. There was such a, I don't want it to ever sound like I was like, oh, it's okay. But there was this, like, Chris is going to be okay, because either he's going to be healed and get through this, or he's going to be with Jesus. I kind of felt like I might not be okay, but but there was this, like, you are going to be okay. Mm-hmm. And I just went back to that song a lot. Because he lives, I can face tomorrow. And, like, that was,
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah, I think sometimes, usually it's like, oh, well, by his stripes we're healed, so he's going to be healed. It's like, except for when they're not in their earthly bodily form. And that's just a hard perspective for anybody to have to walk through. Like, definitely, have faith for that.
Yes.
And know that it can happen, and know that it does happen. But also that if it doesn't, it doesn't, because that rocks people's faith a lot of times, right?
Yep.
You prayed over me and told me he was going to be okay, and he didn't make it, whatever. So it seems like the right perspective to have in a situation like that.
Yeah, the promise that's unshakable is his presence, and knowing him eternally, we're healed, right? That's what we hold on to. And that's what's unshakable, is regardless of in life or death, like, we're healed eventually, like on this or the other side. And that's the unshakable truth that you can hold on to for sure. Right.
Yeah. And it's another, like, the whole, if your kids know that you as husband and wife love each other more than you love them, they will feel more loved and more safe. How that is kind of like, that's almost weird. I was kind of given this gift of Chris being so firm in Jesus and his foundation being so firm in Jesus that he kind of brought up to me, like, I might not make it. And I don't even remember how you said it, but just what I remember of the conversation was you kind of being like, I want you to know that I might not make it. And I need you to know, like, that Jesus is the answer. And like, and that gave me such safety because I
don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
In and out of consciousness.
Yeah.
Profound wisdom.
Yeah. But he was kind of like, are you going to be
right.
okay, basically.
Right.
And I just remember a weight feeling like it was lifted from me because I was thinking of like, he's the one who's being faced with death, like being told you could just pass away and not assuming because of what I knew of him that he would be not shaken, like not destroyed by that. But hearing him, but then I was like, if he doesn't have that perspective, how do I help instill that in him? So knowing that he had that perspective of like, the whole, in the book of Daniel, chapter 3, Nebuchadnezzar tells, these dudes, bow down to me or I'm going to kill you. And their whole thing is, we know that our God can save us. Even if he doesn't, we're not going to bow down to you. And that was another instrumental verse in my life with other situations. And in this one, for both of us, of like, that we were kind of checking in with one another, like, do you agree with this? Yes. Do you agree with it? Yeah. And so we were able to give each other that security in a way. Yeah.
Just come in agreement with like, we don't really know what's going to happen, but regardless, God's going to get the glory here in life or in death. Like we know it's possible to be healed, and we're praying very passionately for that. I mean, not to shave off, like to be completely real and genuine. Like we were devastated. Like not to we didn't have this unshakable feeling, right? And unshakable faith. We were both devastated in different ways. And I was devastated that I was possibly going to leave behind. Like it's even like it's harder for you. So it sucked to think about that.
Yeah. I remember in, so we were in Albany, they did the biopsy. They basically were like, oh, it looks really like it's this kind of cancer, which is very curable. It's like pretty, it's going to be fine.
That looks good.
That looks really good. So we're like, okay. So then he gets discharged, but he's still having crazy fever.
Don't go to Albany.
He's still having crazy fever, like when they discharge him, which apparently is one of the things that you're supposed to check for before you discharge someone. Anyways.
Which is a easy thing to check for. Hey, what's your temperature? Here you go. You can't leave yet.
Yeah. So he still had crazy fever, coughing, like still had that, like the breathing was kind of getting worse a little bit. We go back to Lowville, and I think it was maybe 3 days later. No, not even. It was like a day. Like we had been in Lowville for a day. Knowing like, okay, we're going to have to talk to doctors. We're going to have to start treatment. But being told like, I even remember I asked the doctor multiple times, like, is this something, it seemed to have come on really fast. Like, is this something that in a week, this could like kind of totally take over? And he was like, no, that never happens.
Never.
Turns out there are cancers that do.
Yeah.
So we get a call. We've been at home for about 24 hours. Chris gets a call from the doctor who got the biopsy results. And he basically is like, you need to get to a hospital yesterday. Like your the size of this mass, your lungs could, like your airways could close at any moment and you wouldn't be able to breathe. Like you need to start, like you should have started treatment yesterday. Honestly though, thank God that they did discharge us from Albany, because then that opened the door to going to NYU in Manhattan, where Chris's brother, his roommate from college is a neurosurgeon at NYU. So his dad and his brother and like Chris was a little bit, when he was able to think, was like texting with him like, which we do. It was, a long story. But anyways, his brother's old roommate, we drove down to the city. Again, this was like 6, 7 in the evening. So kind of drove through the night. I parked the car. We walked into the emergency room, and his brother's old roommate, who they're still really good friends, like met us at the door and stayed with us.
Wow.
He actually,
that's incredible.
It was.
Yeah.
No waiting room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He actually even because Albany had sent the results of the testing and everything. He got one of his friends who does work. He was a hematologist or oncologist. Because this other dude's a neurosurgeon, so he doesn't do stuff with cancer.
Neurosurgeons have some pull in the hospital.
Yeah. He got one of his friends to read the report and actually came from his home to the hospital just to sit down and explain things to us.
3 a.m.
It was 3 in the morning at this point. Yeah.
So
even
it was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
And then that started a whole.
Yeah. So that's when we found out that he had leukemia, and that there's they didn't want to give us, which makes sense, concrete, he'll have a 50% or whatever.
Google didn't help. So.
Yeah.
No, because we did that last time we were on here. I think it is some small percentage.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty small.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, Google doesn't, not great.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that.
We couldn't stop ourselves.
Before ChatGPT. ChatGPT, how am I doing?
Yeah. So it was a lot, I think I still have the note, he told us what was going on. It feels so surreal, it felt like I was watching myself in a movie. It was just what? So I'm asking questions and I don't even really know what to ask. And so just taking notes. And after he left, he actually went out. Chris's dad was in the waiting room, and he went out to go talk to Chris's dad, which I was so thankful for, that he was able to do that. And the thing that I remember the most, which again just speaks to Chris's character, is the first thing that Chris said. He just kept saying over and over, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And I knew in that moment that it was because the first thing that he thought, he's faced with death, and the first thing he was thinking about was me, and the fact that he didn't want me to have to walk through that, because he watched his dad be a widow and just how devastating that is. And he had been through a lot of loss, and he just over and over, just, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And I was just telling him, "It's okay. It's going to be okay." And there was this, I think because we had that conversation about it's okay doesn't mean you're going to be fine. You're going to be healed. And it's okay doesn't mean, "Oh, I'll be okay." But it was a deeper, in the light of eternity, because he lives, I can face tomorrow. And it goes back to, 14 years old. This world is not my home. This world is not your home. It's just, when I read scripture, and when I read what, things that happen in the book of Acts, or the things that the disciples went, all this stuff, the persecution that happened, the only way it's possible to not be crushed by it, what is it? Is it 1 Corinthians 4?
2 Corinthians.
2 Corinthians 4. That we are jars of clay. We're hard pressed on every side, yet not crushed. Persecuted, but not abandoned. The only way to have that perspective is to have an eternal perspective, that this is not it. This is not all that there is. And just kept telling it, it's going to be okay. We know how the story ends. And again, there wasn't this. Yeah, there wasn't a moment of oh, but it's gonna, Chris is gonna be healed. Yeah. I actually, honestly, kind of the opposite. I remember talking to my parents when we were in the hospital, and was telling, I know a lot of people who have passed away from leukemia or from cancer, and my cousin passed away from leukemia, and I told my parents that. I was I hear everyone praying, but the only examples that I had of people who had leukemia was that they passed away. Those were the only stories that I knew of. And my dad told me something that I was was so good. He said, "I know, Rebekah, that he could pass away tomorrow, but living in tomorrow is robbing you of, even if it's one more hour that you have with him." So, and what he said was there is no being prepared for someone passing away. It doesn't matter how much time you have. There is no like, oh, I prepared myself so it was less difficult. He was like, there's nothing you can do to make it less difficult if it does happen. All you're doing by waiting for it is robbing the time that you do have with him. Wow. So that was very helpful for me to...
Thanks, Wilbur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To really just spend time with Chris. Like, yeah. Lots of arm rubs and shoulder rubs. And
Yeah, I needed them.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, and this was how, just to kind of wrap it all into a big ball. I don't want to all end it like this, but you guys got places to be.
Yeah.
Unless I can kidnap you. You guys are both kidnapped. You're officially kidnapped.
Yeah.
How long were you married at this point?
I think it was 7
So
months.
August of 2022 and then April of 2023 was the diagnosis.
The very beginning.
So
7, 8 months.
So 7 or 8
Something like
months.
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy
Yeah.
trial.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
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 Well, man, I mean, this just feels like a terrible place to end. But if you guys would come on again, no, for real, and kind of just piggyback off this sometime, because the journey, that's just kind of the start of a recovery and then other, you know, things that happened.
Yeah.
And so I would love to get that on too, but so appreciate you guys kind of telling your story and pouring out your heart about this, because this is like real stuff. And when people are going through similar things, these are the kinds of stories that like, and the perspective is so important of, look, it's not on our timeline and it's not our decision. And how can you navigate that perspective? It's just so powerful.
Yeah.
This might be a good way to end it.
Yeah.
If I can share one story. So, cause this was all, you know, first week of being down at NYU.
Crying before was great. So keep going.
That's a good cliffhanger
Yeah.
for the next episode. Right in the middle of it.
Go ahead.
The thumbnail. We're all like,
Perfect.
Yeah.
So as I said, it was difficult because the only stories that I knew were this is how it ends. And crazy events. Mike and Gina Judd, the amazing Mike and Gina.
Yep.
They had months ago planned on coming to this conference in Brooklyn I think it had to do with like, you know, for ministry leaders, like what they do with Beaver Camp and stuff. So they had planned to come to this conference. It was the same. So like we get down to the city, they're coming down like 4 or 5 days later or something like that. So they were able to, I like had stuff that I needed because when we got the call, I literally grabbed a bag and was like, get in the car, we're leaving. So within 5 minutes, so I didn't pack clothes and whatever. So Mike and Gina were like, we'll bring stuff down for you. So they brought stuff down at the conference. They actually, not even at the conference, but at the place where they were staying for the conference, they just get talking. Again, this is 5 days into this. They get talking with this couple. What did they do? Blah, blah, blah. It's a married couple. And this woman starts sharing her story about how 2 months into their marriage, she was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia and what that was like for them. And she is completely healed. And the ministry that came out of that happening. And Gina goes, I have someone you need to meet. So Gina texts me about it and is like, would you like to meet this couple? And again, I genuinely was like, I don't even know. Like I just was so, any minute not being in the room with Chris was like, I physically felt it was painful. And so I was like, well, they can't come up to the room. And like, I was just kind of torn. So then I was finally like, okay.
She was sleeping in the room, like
holding your hand.
Yeah. So the couple comes and I go downstairs. Chris's brother was there visiting. That was another huge blessing. He was able to be there a lot and was just so helpful. So Chris's brother's fiance and his dad's girlfriend, who I'm also really close with. So they were all down there as well. And this couple just comes and just tells me their whole testimony. And I recorded it so I could go upstairs and play it for Chris later. And I didn't even know this. When I said like, yeah, I'll meet them and like heard their testimony, I came upstairs. It was so encouraging. And there was even stuff that she said that I was kind of like, like, okay, that doesn't really apply to me. And then like 6 months later, I would remember like, oh, she encouraged me to whatever. Like, so instrumental to hear this. And it was very much like the same. It was just so similar. They had just gotten married, literally the same diagnosis, the same age, like off by a few years. Yep. So I came upstairs, played the recording for Chris, and what did you, was that when you were like, you'd been searching for?
Yes. I mean, tons of downtime. And so, Googling stuff, testimonials, like similar situations, age, diagnosis. And so it was really hard to find, surprisingly, like, and so I'd been just praying for hope and for, someone with a similar story.
Yeah.
And here these people walk into the hospital, faith in Christ, tell us this whole testimony. So that was like a good stake in the ground, I think, of just hope for us.
And God was with us. Like, thank you. Like, we really needed that. Like, just very hopeless, at times. And that was a beacon of light.
Yeah. I could see too you mentioned before, like sometimes the messaging, the prayers of like, it's going to pull through are not helpful. And I could also see how the other side would be true too. And be like, hey, like, just prepare yourself in case you need to say goodbye. And be like, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
Right. So getting a good example of somebody who had gone through all of those stages, all of those feelings, all of the hurt, all of the uncertainty, and being able to kind of just give you the, hey, look, it's not as bleak always, still the possibilities are what they are, but this is, kind of a reassuring thing. Like, it's not over.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Good. Well, awesome. Thank you guys so much for being generous with your time and coming and being with me. Chris is now 3 times on. It'll
3
be
times.
4. Whoop. And I'll let you do the clicky thing when we leave.
Oh, nice.
Yes. Really powerful testimony. Really, really great story. And this is just part 1. So people can be on the lookout for part 2.
Tune in next time.
That's it. Tune in next time. All right. We'll see you later, everybody. Hold on, Chris. Ready?
Yep.
You ready?
Yes.
Yes, you do the clicky thing. Yes.
Nice.
All right. See you later.